Now, there's a bit of an interesting thing to note here. You'll perhaps notice from the clip from before, Skybite swims both through the ground and through the air. This is a bit of an interesting little attribute of the character, and one that actually is more in-depth than you might expect. Now, one note, Skybite's Beast Mode is the only one of the Predacons in the show that doesn't have legs. So, admittedly, for a show that primarily takes 99% of the time on the land, it's a bit difficult to utilize this Beast Mode on a daily episode basis. So, how do you resolve this? Admittedly, if you are in charge of a show and you are told to use this character, this is a bit of a conundrum. What do you do? Perhaps one method of this is admittedly to make him swim through more than just water. And admittedly, remember, Skybite is an alien robot. He's from another planet and is from a very high technological society. So it's not admittedly impossible that Skybite could be modified in some way beyond Earth science to allow him to perform these feats. It even helps, of course, the fact that he's actually a cyborg shark and not a realistic-looking shark. Remember that the Predacons here, the repaints, were based off the Transmetal 2s from Beast Wars, which were cyborg. What's interesting, though, again, he's a repaint of the Transmetal 2 Cyber Shark. One of the oddities, and one of the reasons why the character was so well liked, as a toy character, Cyber Shark actually had a vehicle mode. And this is particularly of note because while vehicle modes were common to Transmetals, Transmetal 2s are not the same. A Transmetal is kind of a throwback to the old 80s style. They're robotic animals, although more organic looking, kind of like Colossus from the X-Men. And they kind of have an inverted situation, a robotic animal mode, but a bizarrely organic robot mode. It's quite weird looking, actually. The show toned it down, I think wisely. And then the third attribute, of course, with them, their robotic animal mode, organic robot mode, is then was their vehicle mode. Now, vehicle mode's being a bit generous. Transmetals didn't actually have a true vehicle mode in the sense they turned it into an actual car or truck or plane or something. It was actually their beast mode, but with vehicle components, like jet engines and wings, or motorcycle tires coming out, or dragster wheels and exhaust pipes, and things like that. Actually, some of the toys were sold describing it as a transportation mode, which might actually be a little bit more accurate. But it's more commonly known as a vehicle mode, even though, like I said, it's not a true vehicle. Transmetal 2s, on the other hand, are not the same. They're cyborgs, and they're kind of cyborgs in both forms, actually. The beast mode has the robotic cybernetic parts, but their robot modes tend to be very animalistic as well, and still kind of retain a very cyborg look. Some of them actually even will have a few vehicle components as part of them. Cheetor in the show actually had a rocket strapped to the back of his Transmetal 2 beast mode. He didn't have a vehicle mode per se. The rocket was just simply part of his beast mode, and he didn't go through any sort of transformation to use it. And he's not the only character. Darkscreams, who's repainted from Night Glider, actually has vehicle components as well. If you look closely, you'll notice he actually has VTOL engines into, again, not wings, but the skin flaps that attach to his arms that let true flying squirrels glide. This provided Night Glider with low-level flight, and presumably provides the same to Darkscream, who's actually also capable of flight, as he'll mention in this episode. These VTOL engines are wide. Now, Cybershark also had vehicle components, but unlike the other Transmetal 2s, his were actually folded away inside the shark body, and he actually had a very minor transformation to a vehicle mode that basically gave him a flight mode. Again, a low-altitude flight mode, the bio described it. Basically, jet engines come off the side, extends his side fins to be more like wings, limitedly, and a back pair of fins detached to make it more like a plane tail. And weapons become active as well on the figure that are not supposed to be used in beast mode. So technically, Skybite, being a repaint of the Transmetal 2 Cybershark, actually has this vehicle mode. Indeed, the model, if you buy the toy, retains it. So, interestingly, the people behind Robots in Disguise apparently came to the solution to make use of this flight mode, but not to bother animating him transforming into it. Instead, Skybite can simply fly in beast mode, which granted with transmetal vehicle modes, there's not a lot of difference between their beast modes and vehicle modes. But still, it's not like it would have been particularly difficult to animate. I'm, in fact, not really sure why they didn't. Only really two distinct possibilities come to mind. If you have any of your own theories, feel free to comment on them below. But my thought is either A, the animators really liked the idea of a shark swimming through the air and or ground, and so wanted to do that, or B, it's an effort to keep Megatron more unique. Remember, Megatron at this point in Robots in Disguise is a six-changer, although, again, we've only seen 5 of his modes, and we won't see any new ones in this episode either. But nevertheless, he actually does have 6 modes. Possibly, Skybite doesn't use his third mode in order to make Megatron seem more special, that he's got multiple modes and he's the only one. Again, perhaps the Japanese make more mention of this. The American version, at least, never draws attention to Megatron's multiple forms. No one ever mentions it or calls it out or in any way ever talks about it. He simply changes into the mode whenever he needs one, and everyone treats it as normal. So, if that is the case, it's a bit weird how they don't actually do anything with Megatron's multiple alternate forms. But Skybite's not the only, if you will, triple changer in Robots in Disguise. There actually are other Transformers that have third modes as well, but don't use them. Megatron's the only character that really uses multiple forms.
Koji, we have a Predacon alert. I'll pick you up a block north of your present location.
1 block north of my house. Gotcha, Optimus. I'm on my way there right now. Huh?
No, Optimus! Wait, that's Koji, not Shia LaBeouf! Don't run him over!
Hurry, Koji. This is an emergency.
Whoa! What are you running on? Jet fuel? What's all the commotion about, Optimus? Where are we going?
Not far. I'll explain everything when we get there. Optimus Prime, transform!
Holy cow! What is this place?
This is Cybertron Base, the Autobots' secret underground headquarters.
Wow!
Now you'll notice that Optimus Prime tells Koji that there is an emergency and they must come at once, and won't even tell him what it is till they get to the base. Yet once they're there, Koji doesn't do anything. Why is he here? Optimus explains to Koji that the Predacons are stealing batteries, specifically car batteries, because the Predacons are searching for power. In fact, we'll learn shortly that the Predacons are desperate for power. They've used up all their energy just to get here to Earth. Which does leave a question of what exactly was Megatron's plan here? Why didn't he stock up on enough energy before coming? Did something happen? Is he fleeing something? Did they run out of energy wherever he was, and coming to Earth is a desperate attempt to get more? We don't really know. All we know is the Predacons are after it, and they've apparently decided that car batteries are the most efficient way to go about getting it. Either way, what exactly is Koji going to contribute to this? So here we're introduced to the Autobots' base, rather unimaginatively referred to as Cybertron Base, which is a bit awkward of a name considering that their planet is called Cybertron. I suppose it makes sense that they might name it after the planet, but it's really sort of awkward to say Cybertron Base. Be like saying Earth Base. And you would expect Earth Base to be on Earth. But Cybertron Base is not on Cybertron, it's on Earth. But they really only ever call it this in this episode. It's typically simply referred to as Autobot Headquarters, which admittedly rolls off the tongue a little bit easier. This room is pretty much it. We don't really see much of anything else. Unfortunately, they don't really expand or explore the base. A bit like Beast Machines, perhaps, where the Maximals would often have random bases that we really never knew much of the layout of. But unlike Beast Wars, in which both the Axalon and to a lesser degree the Dark Side were actually to some degree explored and you became familiar with the setting. For Robots in Disguise, however, this room is pretty much the base. As you can see, it is a secret base, it's underground, and the entrance is hidden in what appears to be some type of car garage, which does keep into the theme of robots in disguise hiding from humans, which the show is going to ruin later in this very episode.